Welcome back to the neighborhood. I'm Dylan,
And I'm Andrew.
and today we're talking about Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor is an action-adventure game developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by EA. It's the follow-up to 2019's Jedi Fallen Order and expands upon the story of the characters from that game.
Jedi Fallen Order introduced us to Cal, Seer, Grease, Marin, and of course, BD-1. There were some cameos from established characters in the lore, such as Saw Gerrera, but much of the story was about Cal's journey as a Jedi in hiding and overcoming his trauma surrounding Order 66.
Jedi Survivor picks up 5 years after the end of the first game and sees Cal working with a new crew to fight against the Empire. Things quickly go wrong and most of the crew die, leaving Cal on his damaged ship headed to find Grease for repairs. After finding Grease on Kobo, Cal meets a droid from the High Republic era that sets him on the main quest for this game, discovering a way to go through the Kobo Abyss to the hidden planet of Tanalorr.
As Cal looks for clues, he finds a Jedi named Dagan Gera in a Bacta tank where he'd been for hundreds of years. Dagan is one of the Jedi who discovered the way to Tanalorr, but Cal's hopes of help are dashed as Dagan quickly turns his lightsaber red and attacks Cal. This sets up the main villain for the story, and the race to be the ones to claim the compass to guide them to Tanalorr ensues.
Along the way, Cal reconnects with Marin and Seer, and the interactions and character development of the original crew are the highlights of the story. As Cal explores, he meets plenty of other colorful characters, some of which can be sent back to the saloon on Kobo, the main planet. Many unlock an activity, like the garden or holo tactics, a store, or have side quests Cal can take on.
There are some twists and turns along the way that I won't spoil, but I do want to talk about their execution. The sudden shift of Dagan Gera to the dark side is explained later through optional audio and text diaries, but it still feels confusing and like it could have been expanded on and given room to breathe rather than having it happen 30 seconds after you find him. Similarly, several other parts of the game feel as though they would have worked so much better had there been more build-up, but as they are, they feel jarring. Overall, I think the story of Fallen Order is stronger. That's not to say Survivor isn't a good story, but it left a bit to be desired.
While the story was not as strong as Fallen Order, the gameplay iterated and improved on the foundation it laid. The original game felt like Star Wars, and Survivors takes that to the next level in both exploration and combat. Exploration plays out as a sort of Metroid-esque puzzle platformer a lot of the time. Cal uses his arsenal of force powers to wall run and jump his way to new heights, while others open up previously blocked paths. BD-1 gets some upgrades throughout the game that allow for other areas to be reached. While backtracking is not typically required for story progression, there are a ton of side areas that you can access by exploring previous areas once you've got the tools to access them.
2 of the 6 planets in the game are fairly expansive and offer a lot of opportunities to test your platforming skills as you chase down some side missions, experience points, or collectibles. Fast travel has been added, which greatly smooths the rough edges the first game had in its exploration. Going back to explore is fairly seamless as the meditation points serve as hubs, typically with multiple shortcuts leading back to them to allow you to pretty painlessly get where you need to go. Cal also gains the ability to befriend some of the local wildlife, allowing him to ride it. In practice, this essentially functions like a traversal power that's locked to a specific planet, such as the Nekos, which allow you to walk up steep slopes and jump higher, or the Reltors that function like a glider.
Many times, exploration leads you to combat. In the first game, Cal's options were a single blade or double-bladed lightsaber with the ability to dual wield coming through some combos and powers. In Survivor, all 3 are stances Cal has access to from the beginning, with 2 more being unlocked as the game progresses. The blaster stance feels kinda piratey and allows you to combine a fencing sword style of attacks, while weaving some blaster shots into your combo. As you upgrade it, you can use the gun to parry enemies and increase the damage of your shots and recharge rate. The crossguard stance is essentially the Kylo Ren saber, and feels much heavier and deliberate. While slower than the other stances, it can dish out some major damage and stagger your enemies while also providing you with extra defense.
At any time, you can have 2 stances equipped, which lets you choose your favorite styles or tailor it to the situation at hand. There's some new force powers like the mind trick that can be added to your combos, but for the most part, force powers function more as puzzle-solving tools than your primary combat strategies. Progression in this game still works like a more forgiving Souls-like, with Cal losing some of his XP when he dies and reclaiming it by defeating the enemy that defeated you. The meditation points allow you to refill your stims at the cost of respawning all the enemies, though this typically isn't a big deal thanks to the abundance of shortcuts.
We did run into a few hard crashes and a couple of bugs during our time playing the game, but did not encounter enough to taint our experience too much. That said, we were both playing on Xbox. We've heard the PC version is in a lot rougher shape, so keep that in mind if that's where you play your games. Overall, the gameplay is a ton of fun and captures the feeling of Star Wars extremely well.
Jedi Survivor earns an A from me.
And a B from me.
The story was a bit less engaging than the first game, but still a fun Star Wars adventure. Fallen Order is one of our favorite Star Wars stories, so it was a bit disappointing that Survivor didn't live up to the legacy. But it more than made up for it with the gameplay improvements. Running around and fighting enemies as a Jedi feels fantastic, and the expanded options for combat and traversal smooth over the rougher edges of the first game. If the story had hooked us like the first one did, this game could have been rated even higher.
Have you played Jedi Survivor? What did you think? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to help out the channel, consider leaving a like or turning on notifications, as that helps get the video into the algorithm. If you want to hear our expanded thoughts on Jedi Survivor, check out our podcast, which you can find a link to in the description. For now, we'll leave you with a reminder to stay friendly, gamers.
And may the Force be with you.